My daughter said that her deadbeat father is better than me after I refused to buy her an iPhone. So I taught her a lesson she will never forget. So Kayla just turned 14 and she's been on me for months about getting the new iPhone because everyone at school has one. I tell her we can't afford it right now because rent just went up and her basketball fees are due. She rolls her eyes and goes, "This is why I wish Dad had custody. He'd actually get me things I need." I'm standing there in my work uniform after pulling a double shift to pay for her basketball camp, and she's telling me about how her father, who hasn't paid child support in 3 years, would be better. For context, her dad Tony left when she was 4, shows up maybe twice a year, usually around her birthday and Christmas with some gas station gift, and promises about how next time he'll take her shopping for real. Last year, he promised her a laptop for school and showed up with a used tablet from 2015 that didn't even turn on. But somehow in her mind, he's this great provider who's just been kept away by mean old me. So she keeps going. "Dad says you spend all the child support on yourself anyway. He says if I lived with him, I'd have my own room and new clothes and an iPhone." I tell her Tony doesn't pay child support and she actually laughs. "That's because you probably refused it to make him look bad. He told me you're bitter about the divorce. The divorce that happened because he was using our savings for online gambling and had 2 other girlfriends. But sure, I'm the bitter one." She storms off and slams her door yelling about how she's going to ask her dad if she can move in with him. Fine. You want to see what living with Tony is like? Let's do it. I call Tony that night and tell him Kayla wants to spend a couple weeks with him. He starts making excuses immediately, but I tell him she's been asking and it would mean a lot. I actually say, "She thinks you're ready to be more involved." His ego can't resist that, so he agrees to take her for 2 weeks starting Saturday. Kayla is thrilled, packs all her favorite clothes, her laptop for school, all her basketball gear because she has practice twice a week. She's talking about how her dad probably has a huge TV and fast internet, and maybe they'll go shopping for her iPhone. Saturday comes and Tony shows up 2 hours late in his friend's car because his got repossessed again. Kayla doesn't care. She's just excited to finally spend real time with her dad. She hugs me goodbye like she's never coming back. I text her that night asking how everything is. She sends back one word: great. The next morning, she calls me crying. Tony lives in a studio apartment above a bar. She slept on a couch that smells like cigarettes. There's no food except beer and leftover pizza. When she asked about breakfast, he gave her $5 and told her there's a convenience store down the street. But here's where it gets good. Monday comes and she needs to get to basketball practice. Tony says he doesn't have gas money and practice isn't important anyway. She texts me begging for help, but I remind her this is what she wanted. Tuesday she calls because there's no Wi-Fi and she can't do her homework. Tony told her to figure it out at school. Wednesday, her friend's mom calls me because Kayla asked her for a ride home from school since Tony didn't show up to get her. I tell her Kayla is staying with her father, and that's his responsibility. Thursday, Kayla calls sobbing because Tony had people over until 3 in the morning and she couldn't sleep. When she asked them to quiet down, Tony told her to stop being dramatic and go back to the couch. Friday, she misses school because Tony didn't wake up in time to drive her. He tells her one day doesn't matter, and she's being uptight like her mother. Saturday morning, exactly 1 week in, Tony calls me. "You need to come get your daughter. This isn't working out." I ask him what the problem is. He goes, "She's constantly needing stuff. Rides everywhere, money for food, asking about homework. I can't deal with this." I remind him he's her father, and this is what parenting involves. He actually says, "I didn't sign up for this full-time parent crap." I tell him Kayla wanted 2 weeks with him since he's so much better at providing for her. He hangs up. An hour later, Kayla calls me crying harder than I've ever heard. "Please come get me. Please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Dad left. He said he had something important and just left. I don't know when he's coming back." I let her sit with that for 3 hours before I pick her up. She never asked about an iPhone again.